Greetings, land of cryptocurrency. Bitcoin has clearly broken above resistance. Will it hold? I express extreme caution here. I'm not sure why Bitcoin is pumping the way it is. If you watch my last few videos, I've talked about just the trivial gossip things that have dropped this market enormously in the past, and how YouTubers continuously run our audience into these huge bull traps. It's just mind-boggling to me as the U.S. Senate is literally voting on a bill almost devastating to cryptocurrency as a whole. I don't understand why it's pumping into this. Other times, just gossip has looked the wrong way at Bitcoin and it's dropped 10, 20, 30%. And now this is a real thing. And there's many other real issues at play right now, negative things. And Bitcoin's pumping right into the heart of it. So this vote that was supposed to happen today, Saturday, basically cryptocurrency, the issue with cryptocurrency, taxing and stuff is what's holding it up. The Senate is going to reconvene Sunday, noon Eastern, and try to vote on this thing. I've talked recently about leverage in this market. And if this would have had a chance to drop down and towards 20,000 in this ballpark down here, if you've been watching my videos, I was talking about it dropping down here 20,000 or lower. That would have been wonderful. Big players with a lot of money would have started hodling at that point. I think this is leverage. This is leverage juice. And as we've been seeing over and over and over, there's probably likely going to be a massive sell-off coming. Even if this goes up to 50,000, it's just going to make the drop even worse. So just be real leery. I mean, do what you want, of course. You always make up your own mind and make your own decisions. Don't listen to people on YouTube. But part of the reason I say don't listen to people on YouTube is because I've seen the Bitcoin hype squad continuously run their viewers into these massive, massive dumps, right? These are tens of billions of dollars being liquidated, long positions, over and over and over. I would guess probably over 100 billion, just if I, off the top of my head, over $100 billion long positions liquidated. And that's not counting stop losses and panic selling and stuff. So it's massive. It's a massive problem. I don't know why this would be any different. Like I was saying, the big investors would have got invited to start hodling down here. I would have to speculate that this is a lot of high leverage, and a simple trigger of any sorts, even just some goofy story that doesn't even make sense. Forget about the real stuff that's going on. Just some goofy story. This person said this and this person said that. If it triggers, it could trigger a stop loss, domino, cascading waterfall effect where liquidations get involved, panic selling gets involved. If you don't believe me, this thing going on with the Senate. Now, the Senate has to pass it on to the House, right? And it has to go through the House as well. But this is in negative to the point where this is worse than anything we've seen in this bull run, this news, right? This is not FUD. So what happened Saturday? They just came to a stalemate. And this is an infrastructure bill that basically has to be passed. We need this. So it's going to be passed. There's amending the wording of this taxation of cryptocurrency. Google it and see the details yourself. But the lawmakers are facing tremendous time pressure from the White House as well as the Senate Majority Leader. Now get this, to the point that the possibility still exists that this bill could be moved to a vote without the amendment being considered. The amendment they're talking about is some senators have come to the rescue of cryptocurrency, but they might because that's gridlocked because of this issue. There's two amendments to the bill. One makes it even worse than the original, and one makes it better. So they might just forget about it and just pass the bill. I don't know. I don't get it. When it comes to something real, Bitcoin's pumping into it, and when it comes to basically fake news, gossip, this person said this about this, then it's been dumping, 10, 20, 30, 50, 60%. But now with some real stuff, real issues, real world reality, it's pumping. I just don't get it. If they can't come to a resolution on the amendments, they'll just forget about it and vote. If that happens, if that was the final list of exemptions, if they're not going to figure that part out, this would leave software developers and decentralized platforms exposed to the new statute should it pass. And what it is saying that they need to report the tax of their customers to the IRS, and that's impossible for some of these, like Ethereum. It's impossible for them to do that. So that's the problem, right? They basically be operating illegal at that point. So now this has to still go to the House, but here's another issue I have with some of the stuff you might be seeing on YouTube. Over here on Crypto Quant, you may have seen this chart. Supposedly on July 27th, there was over 60,000 Bitcoin moved off of exchanges into wallets, into cold storage, into wallets. So people on YouTube like to show this chart, and when these big moves come off exchanges, they think the price is going to go up because no one's going to be selling, and then vice versa. On the top here, these bars represent Bitcoin coming out of wallets and onto the exchanges, so therefore likely they would be selling them. So I want to point this out to you. I made this video back on April 11th showing on April 5th there was 79,000 Bitcoin moved off of exchanges into wallets. And I was getting this information from like George at Cryptos R Us and some other channels that were showing this relentlessly. And people are making big time investments based on this information. And there was, look at my title here. Where did $4.7 billion go? So this was almost like $5 billion over the course of like 2 days. That was supposedly taken off exchanges and put into cold storage and into people's wallets. Therefore, they weren't going to be selling. So I want to show you the problem with some of this data that you might be making your decisions based off. Let's go to April 5th. This is the current Crypto Quant chart. Same chart. We're just in the month of August now. So go back here to April 5th. Look at the data now for April 5th, 2021. 11,000 Bitcoin. Do you see a problem, folks? Do you see a problem with this on-chain or wherever Crypto Quant and Glassnode and these places get their data? Do you see a problem? Maybe April 5th, 11,000 Bitcoin were taken off exchanges. So how go figure, right? April 5th, 79,000 Bitcoin. So let's see, 79 minus 11 would be, that's 68,000 Bitcoin difference in the data. And at the current prices was about 58,000. So $58,000 per Bitcoin. Look at this number. This is how off and wrong this data was. This is 3.9 billion with a B. Let's just round it off and say $4 billion. See here? They were saying $4.7 billion came off of exchanges and went into people's wallets. This isn't just some trivial thing. There's lots of problems out there. I just want to try to bring it to your attention. I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news, but you deserve to see this kind of stuff. The updated version of this, or whatever you want to call it, shows about $700 million worth, give or take, compared to $4.7 billion. So that's $4 billion. That's a big difference in the data. Go back to the Bitcoin chart here. Here's April 5th, the day that supposedly happened. Supposedly where $4.7 billion was taken off the exchanges and put into cold storage and wallets. What happened the next 2 days? The price of Bitcoin fell from about 60,000 all the way down to $55,500. So about $4,500 drop immediately. And then this was the pump into the Coinbase IPO to our all-time high here, which occurred over the next 7 days. And then from there, okay, mind you, this was like a historical thing that happened April 5th, right? 80,000, there was like 100,000 Bitcoin over like 2 days. Looking at the chart that I made that video off of, where I literally told people, I told my viewers how awesome it was. 100,000 Bitcoin were taken off the exchanges. You know, this is wonderful news, right? And the next 2 days, it was a $4,500 dump. And then this Coinbase IPO was a buy the rumor, sell the news event. So this pump is basically because of that. Just say 65,000 and immediately dumped over the next 10 days, 12 days to 47,000. Is an $18,000 dump. The biggest loss of value in the history of Bitcoin was immediately after that wonderful data on Glass Crypto Quant, right? The information saying, oh, people are taking Bitcoin off exchanges. That means they're not selling. Well, it immediately dropped 4,500. Then there was kind of an artificial pump to the Coinbase IPO. And that also, I'm sure, helped this dump as well. But regardless, right, 10 days after 100,000 Bitcoin were supposedly taken off exchanges, literally the biggest loss of value in the history of Bitcoin ever, until Elon Musk beat it, and right, 30 to 28,000 here, but not percentage wise, but in terms of dollars, in terms of value, $18,000 crash, which is huge. $18,000 is almost the complete total all-time high from 2017, 2018, right? This dump here represents basically the whole bull run of the last halving cycle. So I just want to bring this to your attention because I kind of stopped watching a lot of channels. I've seen some really bad mistakes, and we all make mistakes and stuff, but some of this can be prevented just by experience. So was there really 60,000 Bitcoin taken off exchanges on July 27th? So last time, April 5th, there was supposedly 80,000 in one day on April 5th, 100,000 in these 2 or 3 days here. And it simply turned out to not be true. 10 days after that, we had the biggest dump in the history of Bitcoin up until that point. So what if this date is not accurate, right? So is this probably has something to do with Bitcoin pumping right now? What if it's not true, right? What if it's not true? See this, how small this is? 10 days from July 27th would put us to basically today, yesterday. While we've got a big pump. So this bill could go through as well without any resolution. It could be a devastating blow. Now, it still needs to go through the House and get signed into law, but this should be this is more frightening than any FUD that we've had in the last 8-9 months. Okay, so this isn't FUD. This is real. I'm not sure what's going on here. It leads me to believe that in my opinion, this is basically the worst thing that might happen to Bitcoin right now. Unless, of course, some glorious news came out and we went ahead and just pumped up into the stratosphere from here. But in my opinion, the best thing that could have happened was for us to drop down here, Bitcoin to drop down here into a buy box that would have attracted hardcore, big-time investors that would have hodled maybe for decades. And they're simply not going to buy up here. They know how much leverage is in this market. No investor in the right mind is going to be investing to hodl right here. That's just how it is. I believe, with all the information I see, I believe this is just leverage junkie material. I'm not dogging anyone. If that's your game, that's your game. But I want the other people out there that aren't real professional skilled traders, I want them to be aware of how much leverage is really in this pump. And if it triggers, there will be a cascading fall. Maybe Bitcoin goes ahead and pumps. It's above resistance, so maybe resistance has been turned to support. Maybe it does pump, but at some point it's coming, man. It's coming, right? Because I don't think the hodlers, I don't think they got in. I mean, there are people buying, investing in here, of course, but don't believe everything you see in here. Okay, this is proof. I put this little clip here together for you. So what you're looking at here is the crypto quant stats, the exchange flow that I was showing you before. Here's the one taken from today's stats, April 5th, 11,000. This is in purple, and now I've overlaid the one from back on April 5th, the orange one. They're on top of each other here. I'll flip-flop back and forth here. Here's the one today. I've got them close to on top to each other. On the far right there is April 5th. See, that's the 79, 80,000 Bitcoin supposedly taken off exchanges. Okay, now I got them on top of each other. And then the next one is going to be the purple, the blue, showing what reality was. See where it is now, 11,000 over there on the far right. That blue bar, vertical says 11,000. There's the one from April, the video I made. Same day, showing 79,000. It's almost a $4 billion difference in the data. And I personally made a big investment using this data to tell me to do it. And I made a video telling my viewers this was wonderful. 10 days later was the biggest value loss in the history of Bitcoin. The immediate 2 days, it dumped a little. So these charts, I don't have them exactly overlaid. This is about the best I could get it. If you want to replay the video, and if it doesn't make sense the first time through, check it out. You can look back to the left. I have them synced up pretty good, back to about August of 2020. On the left is August 2020, the right is April. And you can see differences across the board. There's a lot of similarity, but even like 1,000 difference in Bitcoin would be like 60 million, depending on the price, would be like $60 million. That's a big difference, right? And a lot of these are off by 500,000, couple thousand. I just want to bring April 5th to your attention. This is not okay. This is not cool whatsoever. It's a $4 billion that was supposedly taken off exchanges and put into cold storage, and it turned out to not be true. I want to show you this because we've had a recent similar event. So I stopped watching this kind of data back then, or I actually noticed this like a couple weeks, a month afterwards, and I've just totally ignored this kind of stuff since then, because that's not okay, right? This is not okay to show this much, and then it turns out to be this much, right? And now we've had a recent similar day, July 26th, July 27th, July 28th, July 26th, 27th, 28th. It's 60, it's showing 60, 80. It's showing about 100,000 again, just like it did back on April 5th, that ballpark area time. So this could end up not being true, and this might be playing into why Bitcoin's pumping. People are looking at this and thinking it's green light, go, invest your money, blah, blah, blah. I just, the last time this happened, 10 days later, was the biggest loss of money in the history of Bitcoin. So up until that point. So just be careful, man. I'm not saying this doesn't turn out to be a legitimate pump that sends us into maybe, a super cycle type area, or or maybe it's just the bull run continued for this cycle. I'm not saying that this isn't real, but I am saying you need to have all the information. So it just strikes me strange when there's real bad news out there that's liable to happen, that's not FUD, that's real. Bitcoin's pumping, and then false data coming off the on-chain crypto quant sites and that kind of stuff. Just be careful, please be careful. I just want to bring this to your attention. I hope you enjoyed this tidbit. I am a Bitcoin bull. I do think Bitcoin has a huge future, and Bitcoin could probably go to $1 million eventually. I'd like to see this high leverage fiasco come to an end, because I mean, you'd have to, I don't know what words are, but to not be able to look at this and think that this isn't going to have a huge crash coming in the near future. I don't know, you'd have to be like ignoring reality. But just be careful. I hope you enjoyed this. Hope this gave you something to think about. Like I say, I'm a Bitcoin bull. I do think there could be a super cycle eventually, and we could get to $1 million, 500,000 easily in the next 4, 5, 10 years. So just have all the info. And as always, thanks for watching.